I've been wanting to make a video about the PC Engine for a long time. There's a lot to say. There is a lot to say, but so I'll just have to start and probably mention half of it. But it's gonna be a video anyways. That is gonna be watchable, and probably will give you some information. One of the reasons I want to talk about PC Engine is to kind of display these devices that we modify. Oh wait, like this one. This is a Ten No Koe 2 that we have modified with the composite outputs here, also known as RCA, yellow, white and red, which you can plug into your TV. So this is how it looks originally, with no RCA. You can also put in a SCART contact on these ones. A bit more work, but seems a bit uneven there actually. Well, I haven't noticed that before. I just played. I could make an introduction to the PC Engine, which is that it's a console released in Japan. I think it was in '87. It's hard to remember everything. And I do make my videos fast. I don't spend 10 hours preparing. Maybe I should, but it's released in Japan, and let's say it was released in '87. I'm not sure, in late '87. And it became popular after they made a wrestling game. I think that was maybe in the summer of '88. That had some blood. And the Nintendo Famicom, which is the Japanese NES. I'm going to show you a Famicom just to make sure. The Famicom. You probably have seen it from the icon or the avatar or whatever it's called that I have. Japan games. It's Japan spins because the Famicom is probably the most known console in Japan. But and it was released in '83 or '84. But then the PC Engine came, and it wasn't very popular at first because they didn't have any good games. But then they made a wrestling game and had some blood, which Famicom games didn't. And then they released R-Type, which really showed what the PC Engine was capable of compared with the Famicom. And the PC Engine, for one thing, it was very popular for was all the shoot 'em ups. And the Famicom and the NES aren't that good at shooters because they can't handle when there's many things on the screen at the same time. They did kind of improve on that later on with some later shooters, but especially the early shooters like Xevious and that kind of games. There's flickering and there's slowdowns and all kinds of problems with the early shooters. But the PC Engine is much better at those kind of games. I think even one of the developers said that it was made with shooters in mind. And it was made by Hudson. And that's why these cards are called Hue cards. Hue card stands for Hudson. But the hardware was made by NEC. The problem with PC Engine, I think, for many is that there's a lot of different systems and consoles and accessories and all kinds of cool but confusing things. But the thing is, if you stick with the Hue cards, which is a very good start, I mean, there's a lot of good Hue cards. And I made some videos of some of them, including this one, Dragon Spirit. And most of those games are perfectly playable. There's another one, Bomberman 93, and I have like a little box of games that I could show. And then you can do with a Turbo Graphics console, which is dark gray, kind of this color, and it works excellent. You can plug it in. It even has the same contact as the Mega Drive, although it does have stereo output, so the Mega Drive cable only has mono. But if you go with, you can find one of these early PC Engine consoles. They're very common, and you can get them for very cheap. The main problem is though that they only have Japanese antenna. Now that actually works on my TV, and I'm in Europe, so if you're in the United States, you're probably gonna work on your TV if you just try around a bit. But modern TVs might not always work with it. So instead, what people do is that you can either modify the console directly and give it RCA outputs, but it's a bit of a hassle because this console is very small and kind of compact on the inside. You know, as you can see, it's almost the same size as a CD. It is remarkably small. This is a Super Famicom. Oh well. So what I prefer is to modify this Ten No Koe accessory. You can also modify other accessories, like here we have one. This is an interface unit, and you can have a CD-ROM here, and then we have these complicated things that CD-ROM usually doesn't work, so you need to fix that, and then you need to have a system card. There's 4 different system cards, and you probably want to have the 3.0, which can play most games. Then there's also the Arcade Pro card, which is going to play some other, even more games. It's kind of a hassle. You can also get the Duo, which will play all CD games, except for arcade games and Super Graphics games. I think it can't play arcade games. I'm not even sure about that. But another thing you can do with this interface unit is that you can plug in your PC Engine console to it, and then you do need to have a bit of a stronger power supply than you would need with your PC Engine console. And just to make sure you don't use the same power supply, the plug is a little bit larger on this console, so I'm using a plug adapter like this one to just plug it into the side, and then plugging a power supply into this. But you need to make sure that the power supply is strong enough, gives you enough power to drive the PC Engine here with interface unit. Although if you don't intend to use the CD, the power supply doesn't have to be that strong actually. On the back it says here it should be 9 volts and around 1.5 ampere. But in reality, if you're not going to use the CD, and you probably won't because it usually doesn't work, and we actually fix these CDs, but it's very complicated, and I don't know if there's anyone in Europe other than us that actually provide that service of fixing the CD player. I'm going to show you a CD-ROM. I couldn't find one, so you just have to look for it somewhere else. But yeah, so we actually fix those and then we sell them. But you know, there's hardly anyone in Europe who does that. And you do need to open it up, and there's a gear you have to replace, and then there's some calibration of the laser, and sometimes the ship has burnt out because of this gear not spinning, and so we can't always fix them. It's just sometimes. Now I cannot show you this because there's something wrong with my PC Engine. It doesn't work with this interface unit. But if it had worked, I'm gonna plug in power cable like that, and we're gonna lock this one. Shoof. So the power went on. Need to put in a game. Sort of turn on the console like that. Doesn't give any picture because I think there's something wrong with my console. It needs to have its own power. So I'm putting it into the Ten No Koe. You can just push it in there. Then you can plug in the power at the side. The RCA is normally. The best thing with modifying this is that it's a very simple modification. You just need to solder like 2 wires and be able to cut up this part at the end. So if you're able to get a Ten No Koe, you can very easily modify it if you can do those kind of simple mods. The only problem I have is that I found that the sound is very low, so I always need to raise the volume on my TV. But other people have told me that that hasn't been a problem. So I don't know if there's something wrong with my TV or what that could be. But I mean, it works, and that's the main thing, I think. When it comes to the interface unit, oh yeah, there's a lid on this as well, but I don't know if you need to see that. So this is how it looks originally. You can also do an Rgb mod on it, which we have done. You can put in different kind of output plugs. Here we have put in this, which is, you just need like a normal SCART cable for this one, so it's a very neat and well-functioning modification, which will give you true RGB, and that's a simple way of accomplishing that. The interface unit also gives kind of a boost to the sound. There is also a device you can buy called an AV booster, which will also give you a higher sound than you might accomplish from this one. I haven't actually tried this RGB, so I don't know how it looks, but I just assume that it's proper RGB with great sound and everything. Now you may wonder, so what is the purpose of the Ten No Koe if you have to modify it? Well, the purpose of the Ten No Koe is that it saves data. It has battery slots in here. Oh, it even has the original Hudson batteries in here, and they seem to have been leaking a bit. I think I should have checked that earlier. B power. Could it be any more power? Alright. I should have a laughing track. Everything's more fun with the laughing track. Very light batteries. Sometimes I'm thinking, are batteries lighter when the power has run out? You know, it's like if a body gets lighter when the soul leaves it. Well, I don't know. Probably not. I have to clean this up before it's gonna work with the batteries again, but that's not too difficult. This one has some batteries in it, and you can use it for saving games. Only some games have a save function. And I wanted to show you one of those games that has a save function. It has the console has a. I'm gonna plug in a U card here. I'm gonna turn the console on, and this is Dragon Spirit. I've made a video of Dragon Spirit, a gameplay video where I compared the PC engine of Dragon Spirit with the Famicom game of Dragon Spirit. So if you want to see, now this is just demo mode. So if you want to see that video, you can just search my videos for Dragon Spirit. I think it's kind of like a standard shooter. I'm not too fond of that. Deep Blue, underwater shooter. Also maybe not one of the greatest shooters ever made. I don't think I will be making a video of this game, so we're gonna see if it has demo mode. Wasn't much of a demo mode, was there? I couldn't even be bothered with that. This is the controller. I can't play and move, so it's very difficult. There's so much one could say about the PC Engine system. Like, for example, the earliest PC Engine had a controller without turbo buttons, but every console after that had turbo buttons on it, which is really an advantage in shooters, and it's nice that they included that by default. The PC Engine only has most PC Engine controllers have 2 buttons only, which became a limitation after the Mega Drive and the Super Famicom were released. Another limitation is this one controller port here. The simple solution to that is one of these multi-taps. They're very nice to have, especially if you're going to play a game like Bomberman. This game you can play, I think, at least 4 players, maybe 5 at the same time. So the multi-tap is necessary. And a bunch of controllers. This controller actually comes from the TurboGrafx, but all controllers are compatible, even American controllers and third party. I made a whole bunch of videos of PC Engine games. Some of them I liked and some I may not have liked so much. I wanted to try the save function. If I remember correctly, if the light here is on, it means that the game can save. I mean, it means that there are batteries in the unit. And I think I already have a save game from Neutopia. We're gonna see here if yeah, the thing is, if you press run and select at the same time, the game restarts. And I often do that by mistake. Okay, let's see. We do have to continue here. Password. Yeah, that's right. So I'm not that fast at reading, but it says password. And this one, it's possible it says backup ROM. Possible. And that refers to the Ten No Koe, I think. We're gonna try and put it into a Ten No Koe without batteries. Oh, right, the power supply. Okay, I have a bunch of these. This one is the unmodified. For some reason nobody buys these, I don't know why. This one is modified a bit differently. It has a different standard of the width of the RCA contacts, and it's put in a different place. So let's turn that one on. Still has that option. Huh. Okay, I created a save game in this game, and I made a video of how I did that. And now we can go into continue here. We can choose the save game. and we just start here from this position. I think there was something wrong with the battery connectors on my other Ten No Koe, so I just... And then what you can do is you can have, because you're probably a bit worried, because if you take out the batteries or if they run out, you're going to lose all your save data. But that's why when you make use of this Ten No Koe bank, yes, they thought of everything. And this one you can use with the Ten No Koe, as on this picture, or you can use it with if you have an interface unit, or even a Duo, or a CD-ROM, and then you can take backup of your data. Let's see if it works. These cards don't work sometimes. Three options here. You can move from the console to the card, from the card to the console, or back and forth. I'm going to try this option. Box 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't make these super easy exactly. I wonder what I did now. I'm just going to restart the whole thing and try one of the other options. From the console to the card. So it says something on box 2 and box 3, and something else on box 1 and box 4. Let's try box 1. Yes. Okay, did I do something now? Probably. Let's try from the card to the console. Will I erase everything on the console now? Well, not going to be a big deal. Box 3 was full maybe. Let's try box 4 then. Well, in any case, that was a bit about the PC Engine, the Ten No Koe, the save, the cards, the power supply, the history. There are a lot of decent games for the PC Engine. Kind of nice, they're small. All of these games are playable action games. Oops, there they are. Kind of cool. Probably want them boxed though. Bit difficult to store like this. Oh well, that's it.